Hi there. It's a beautiful day. We're behind the shop here at Knot and Rope Supply, and we're going to get started with building our environmental test facility. The idea behind this is twofold: to show people how to hang rope on posts and to show people what the rope looks like after it's been exposed to the elements over time. Many people call us and they say, hey, how do you hang rope on posts? What's the best way to do it? The answer is that it's really easy, and we're going to show you how. Today we've got some manila rope, which is a classic. It's 1.5 inch manila rope, and we've got some timbers that we sunk into the ground here. And many people use this type of style to do a fence post, to line a dock, or anything like that. You can use 4x4 posts. You can use old landscape timbers like this. It really doesn't matter what you have, but in this case they're wood, so it's going to be really easy to attach the rope to these. The rope is laid out, as you can see here, so that we're ready to go. It's already been pre-measured. We know how much we're going to need, and we've put it back here so it's a little bit easier to handle. In this specific case, we're going to take the rope and wrap each post 3 times with the rope and allow it to drape between them. It's going to look fantastic when it's done, and we're going to show you how to do that right now. What I've got here are some basic tools, which include a screw gun and some wood screws. These are deck screws like you can get at primarily any type of hardware store. I'm going to show you one important thing to note, though, on these screws. These screws here, as you can see, provide a good example of what to get and what not to get. The screw right here has a chisel tip, which is sold as a way to help the screw dig in and kind of grind its way through wood fiber as you're putting it on a deck. Really works great on wood. However, when you're grinding through rope, this can grab the fibers and pull them through and really make an ugly installation. So when you're buying deck screws to put these up, make sure you do not get this kind. You want to get this one right here. This kind I bought at Lowe's. This kind I bought at Home Depot. Not that either store is better than the other, but that's where I got these. So these are just regular deck screws that I got at Home Depot, and they work very, very well. And you'll see here in a minute how they go onto the rope and the post. What I know is that I want to keep these ropes about 35 inches off the ground. So we're going to start and take a measuring tape here and get a rough idea of where 35 inches is. I'm just going to mark that with some masking tape. And we're going to install the rope just above that because we know we're going to have 2 more wraps right in there. Now this is where it gets very easy. We're just going to take our screw like this and drive it right through the rope into the post. Done. It's that simple. And we're going to come around and put a few more wraps just like this. And one more screw. Inserted, say, right there. That's all you need to do. Cool thing about doing it this way is that with just a few more turns, we can actually drive that into the fiber itself, use those strands to cover it, and it's hidden right in there. That way you'll never see a screw head. It's just held up there and it looks great. Very simple, very quick. Going to loop the rope around 3 times just to set it in here before we attach it. Just like this. The other thing that we really have to make sure that we do on this project, and this is very important, is to make sure there's enough distance between the rope and the dip. The reason why that's so critical is because we're dealing with manila rope here. It's an organic product, and when it rains, this rope certainly will shrink, which is totally normal. We don't want to do this, because if we did, it would rain, the rope would shrink, and if your posts are something like a 4x4 and they're not sunk into the ground as deep as these are, it'll pull those posts right out of the ground. The easy way to accommodate for that is to allow 10 to 15% extra in length right there so that when it rains and shrinks, it's not going to pull the post out of the ground. Over time, the rope will eventually come back to that natural state, but the first time it rains, you'll certainly see that rope shrink up. Again, it's totally normal. Don't think that you got something out of the ordinary, but that's what you have to factor in there when you're hanging your rope. So we have about 10% extra in there for the length that we want. Might take it in just a little bit. And now we're going to make sure that we're on our 35-inch mark, which is right there. And all we need set that in there. Now we can adjust the rest of these wraps to where we want them to be. And we are good to go. So now we've got a few posts done. It's looking really nice. And we're getting to a corner here. And you can kind of see how I've done this. By looping the rope around and giving it a few loose wraps, allows me to position the rope where we need it and take in some rope or take it in or let it out according to what we need to make sure that we have a good dip on there. So again, we're going to take the masking tape, or you could use a pen or whatever you like. But the important thing is to make sure that all these sections are at the right height. So we know 35 inches is what we're shooting for. I'm going to put a piece of masking tape right there. And for our rope section, we know that we want this whole thing to be centered right in that section right there. And I can twist this and kind of take some rope in or put some, take it out. And that looks about right. And we're going to make sure that this is 35 inches right there in the center. So we're good. And I'll secure that with one screw there. Tighten it down, attach it to the top. And later on, I may come back and throw a few extra in here on the other sides just to secure it. But in the preliminary stages, we'll just use a few screws to get it where we want so we know we're on the right track. And this one will go right there. Perfect. At this rate, we'll have it done by dinner time. So now we're finally at the last post here. We've got everything sighted. I'm still at 35 inches. I've kept that measurement all the way around here. And we're going to install the final piece. And really at this point, it's just a matter of how we're going to finish off the ends. I'm looking here to make sure we've got enough dip put in there. And we do. So just a few more screws to hold it all down. One screw up here. Now at the beginning and end of all these posts, we've seen a lot of people do different things. Sometimes people will wrap the entire thing all the way up. Sometimes they'll do a decorative element where they let it coil at the bottom of the post. However you decide to end it is totally up to you, and we've seen a lot of cool things, and those are just a few ideas. But in our case, because this is our test facility back here, we just want to showcase what the rope looks like over time. We're just going to go ahead and cut it right here and attach it to the post. We get a lot of people asking us, what's the best way to cut rope of this size? And the answer is really pretty simple, and I'll show you how we do it. What you'd want to do is get some tape, and pretty much anything will work. Duct tape works fine, masking tape also works, electrical tape works very, very well. In fact, some people have even gone to the hardware store and gotten a tan duct tape that's available right now and taped up the rope. But the important thing that you want to do is just to tape the rope to compress and hold the fibers together. And in our case, we're going to tape up about 4 or 5 inches, just like this. Now that we have the rope taped up, you have a choice of a couple tools that you can use to actually cut the rope. In our shop, we use a pair of loppers like this. Many of you have these laying around the house, and this is what you'd use to trim off small tree branches. The other option you could use is a tool like this that's sold by Sears. It's called a Handy Cut. It's about $20 and it's just simply a 3-inch long razor blade that closes down over an anvil and will cut rope like this very, very easily. If you have an old bread knife, you can saw through here. If you have a fine-tooth hacksaw blade, you can also cut through this as well. But for our sake, and for something that's really easy, you just can't beat this. That's all it takes. Now to finish that one up, we'll just attach it there with the screw, and then we're done. So that's really as easy as it is to put this rope up on posts like that. No matter what kind of rope you choose, whether it's the polypropylene 8-strand rope, the Pro Manila, the regular Manila like this, or even the nylon or the polypropylene combo rope, they all get put on the same way. It's very easy to do, and Knot and Rope Supply has a great selection of all these different types of ropes, as well as any technical assistance you might need, giving you ideas and ways to put that up there. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, give us a call at 800-584-1586. Thank you.